So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on next generation managed services. My name's Chris Gomez, and I'm an account director here at Evosys. My focus is on demonstrating the value of our next generation managed services, as well as some of the other innovative Evosys technologies has on achieving maximum business value on Oracle Cloud applications. I'm delighted to be joined today by Vikas and Darvel. So Vikas Surani, he's our global pre-sales leader, and he's been actively involved in shaping our unique offering we have around managed services. And I'm also delighted to be joined by Darvel Acharya, who heads up the analytics and AI team here in Europe, and has been instrumental in shaping some of the innovative technologies that we have here at Evosys. So by means of an agenda, over the next 40 minutes, we'd like to cover three main areas. So firstly, Vikas and I will be taking you through a little bit about getting that extra value from your Oracle Cloud with our next generation managed services. And then we'll then go on to talk about how we can overlay our value-based analytics to identify areas of improvements in an Oracle Cloud environment. So Darvel and I will then talk about the role that other technologies can play, such as robotic process automation or RPA as we now know it, and how it plays in driving success in an Oracle Cloud environment. And then we hope to finish with time to deal with any questions at the end. But rest assured, if we do run out of time to answer all questions, we'll follow up with each of you to answer anything that we've not been able to cover. But what I would ask is for our guests today to use the chat functionality that you have available to you to ask questions as we progress through the webinar. Okay, so firstly, let's just start by talking or looking at sort of the managed service and legacy managed service and how it's evolved over the years. So certainly in the years that I've been involved in software and technology, managed services have always been seen as that necessary evil to ensure that you're able to keep the lights on those business critical applications. And when you look at what was required to run those business applications, you'd normally need some sort of multifaceted service, and potentially provided by a number of suppliers, where you'd have, let's say, a series of servers and networking equipment, and that provider or the managed service provider for that equipment would deal with any faults and firmware updates on the equipment itself. We then saw a bit of a shift where that same hardware could actually be hosted in someone else's data center, but with a continuation of having that service wrap around those pieces of hardware. And then overlaying that was an operating system and a database and an application. And each of those layers had their own service management to install hotfixes and service packs. And those upgrades, as you progress through them, would typically be larger upgrades and infrequent because of the amount of effort that would normally go into actually doing that user acceptance testing prior to rolling out those updates. And then again, overlaying all of that, you'd have some sort of incident handling queue that prioritized and diverted tickets accordingly, that would allow you to effectively divert those tickets to one of those teams based on what the actual issue was. So one of the things that I was pleasantly surprised about when I joined Evosys is that shift now in managed services and what we specifically provide. And it's kind of moving away from that focus of keeping the lights on to much more of a value-added service within the actual application. Now, obviously, this has been helped by the shift to cloud solutions, as it has allowed us to refocus our attention to provide that value within the application itself. Obviously, it's been a real positive in moving to the cloud to get those updates available and installed quicker. So obviously in Oracle's instance, it's every quarter that we see those updates. And it means that you can actually realize the benefits of those updates a lot quicker as well. But obviously I know that with that comes the necessity of regular user acceptance testing, and that does cause an additional overhead. But as part of our service, it gives us focus on supporting our customers with that. And in particular, Darvel and I will be talking about robotic process automation later, and some of the initiatives that we have embedded in our managed service that can actually help with that testing. But I mean, as I said earlier, it's also moved the focus away from just ticket numbers and how many tickets you've resolved in a certain amount of time, and it's focused the attention more on business aligned KPIs. So, for example, looking at streamlining processes and working on root causes of those tickets to increase the business efficiency. So, for us, it's also seeing us working on wanting to see those ticket numbers drop and not show the customers how good we are at closing tickets within that defined period of time based on the priority of the ticket. So, Vikas, obviously I've made some sort of introductory points around the legacy managed service and how we've shifted to that, and it's quite interesting to understand what those points refer to, and obviously understand what that means. So can you actually sort of help us with understanding what our customers get from this service?
Sure, Chris. And as you rightly say, it's not about just keeping the lights on. It is more about how we can help the business to go to that next level. I will share certain insights, what we have strategized and how that is coming currently with few of our customers to help you understand that how this could be also be a part of services which you can opt for. So let's dive into a transformation journey and try to understand that if at all you're going for a digital transformation journey, how that would look like. We as Evosys have a concept of value-based delivery, which is to provide a value to our customers for each and every transactions which we have with them. And to make that happen, we have a proven program, which you can see in front of you, a cloud transformation journey on a canvas. It starts with the pre-phase where you are creating a business case for your, let's say, change or for a transformation journey which you would like to have. We support customers to make that happen. We help them to create a business case for a change. We help them to understand how fit are you with the cloud. So if that is something where you are currently, you may want to check and see how we can help you on that. Once you do that particular part and decide upon what product you want to go for, what partner you want to go for, and what is that you want to achieve, we help you to create or define the KPIs, which could be part of your overall vision and objectives, and not only define, but also help you to achieve that particular KPIs configuring in system so that your processes, your vision are intact and they are aligned with regards to the investment which you are making in technology. And to make that happen, we have a proven program called as Adopt, which is a proven methodology to help you transform to Oracle Cloud. Many times we feel that we have done a lot of hard work of selecting the right product and doing the right implementation, but is that enough? We don't think so, and especially for the customers who have invested so much, they would like to realize the benefits of their investment, and that is where our viewpoint of the continuous improvement comes in. People come to the cloud for the cost saving, but they stay on cloud for the continuous innovation, and that is how the value-based analytics program or the advisory services which I'm going to give a reference upon, that is helping many of our customers. So this is overall transformation journey, and we believe to provide more value to our customers for each and every transactions which we do with them. If you are a Oracle Cloud customers and you're just going live, let's say in coming times, these are the point of consideration which we have seen across implementation of 1,000+ Oracle Cloud customers, as well as our 15 years of experience of handling on-premises customers. When you talk about the cloud, the playground is different. There are various new things which you have to take into the consideration. First and foremost is about user system adoption. Big system, a new system coming into the place, you need your user to start making use of it. You want them to do some transactions in the system and make sure that the manual processes which were happening previously or semi-manual activities which are happening previously are getting embedded in the system. You also want that the processes which were happening 20 years back do not get repeated when you go for a new system. You want your agile processes getting embedded within the system, and that is optimized. When you talk about the software as a service, one of the key benefit what you get is you don't have to upgrade or update by your side. It's Oracle who takes care about the updates. And this is where the quarterly update picture comes in for the Oracle Cloud applications. We as Evosys, which I'll be sharing you certain thoughts on that, and we are taking a global webinars on that. In that particular webinars, we check with our customers and to the larger audience that how do you perceive the value of quarterly updates? More than 80% of the organizations say that that is something positive which they're believing in, and that is how they're able to get value out of it. But still, there are 20% of the organization still feels it's an overhead, and this is the area which we feel needs to be on a first way rather than the taking as an overhead. And there are certain ways where we provide higher value to the customers. It's a SaaS application, so you don't maintain hardware in the infrastructure in-house. Oracle is the one who is currently managing it, and we as a Evosys make sure that the communication with the Oracle is being taken care of, and that is where these are the 4 items or categories of the area which you should consider if you're going live in coming times. If you do not take this into the consideration and there are no right ways to manage this, you are going to face issue from your users. They might lose the trust within the system because it is not helping them to solve their problems. Slow resolution would also mean that you are stopping some of the business critical activities which are required to be completed, and that again loses the trust and the confidence in the new system. So these are the area where you will be seeing the performance dip, and that is how it is being shown in this curve, where you see dip in productive performance. We want to make sure that this dip is as minimal as we have, and then after you get a more performance activities on this. To make that happen, if I take a strategic viewpoint, it is more about bringing more business value, making it more adoption of the processes and the system. And you need some automation and insight to happen with the Oracle Cloud. With the combination of people, process, and technology, we have seen this is happening in a right way, where we can help you to shift left with the focus training and providing the root cause analysis for the problems which are occurring, so that that does not get repeated. And we are working more to enhance what you have rather than just solving what goes wrong. Second important aspect is about automation, and we have seen many of our customers are leveraging this technology in a different perspective. And I guess Dhaval is going to give certain use cases which will help you to understand that how you can remove the mundane activities which you might be doing currently, how you can make it more a digital worker doing that particular activity rather than a person who does the admin activity. We believe to provide a right empowerment to the L1 team of yours, and they should be empowered to solve more things. They should be empowered to learn more things. And this is where we see a shift left approach, where we provide a learning and a training to your team, makes things better, and you are going in a self-sufficiency direction. One of the key component which we said about continuous improvement, which you are referring to, value-based analytics along with the advisory services will help you to do that, and I'll be going to speak about that into the next section. When I talk about the managed services, you want a complete managed services. So it starts with the application layer of your Oracle Cloud. It could be with regards to the infrastructure as a service or platform as a service, which you might have already there when you opted for the Oracle Cloud. You do not want your partner to just stick with the incidents or let's say the problems. You want them to also consider the minor enhancement, and this is where the partnership picture comes in. There could be times when you would require a higher support from your partner. It could be, let's say, the month-end processes which you might want to do. It could be setting up a separate organization which has been acquired, let's say, from outside, and then that is something what you would like to have it. So rather than going for a different vendor and doing lot many things, even just to get the vendor to do that, why not? If you have a flexible pool approach, which could be available on demand, that is something what we can provide to you. On the left and right side, you can see the services which have been offered for this, let's say, components. On the left hand side, you can see the standard services which have been offered by all the vendors, which is about solving the problems what you have, managing the environments, planning it, refreshing it on time, doing the technical development wherever it is required, and providing the Oracle expertise. But on the right hand side, this is something unique what we provide to customers, and we wanted to share some lights on that. User training and enablement, as we said, that we do not see as a separate component, it's a part and parcel of the package, and we want to go with that chiplet approach. And we have a two-in-a-box approach where we help you to go to the next level, not just sticking where you are currently. Functionality enhancement, that is something what we carry out within the program. And the quarterly updates are some unique things which you do with regards to use of RPA. So for the testing part, you don't have to do a 5 days testing for the particular thing. We have an RPA which can help you to do that in 20% of your time. Let's say in 1 day you can complete that particular process. To move the stuff from one instance to another, let's say from the non-production instance to the production, or let's say from different instance to another instance. This is where RPA also can play a role, and you can transfer the things rather than a manual activity which you have to do. One of the area about the root cause analysis, and I'm sure many of you would be relating this to your real life. You get a problem, but to solve that problem, it's not only one-time activity. We want to make sure that the problems get solved with the root cause, and that doesn't repeat over the time. You can see this analysis. This is a periodic analysis which we do for the service request. We do a trend analysis on that. We provide a root cause analysis for the issue, and we try to make sure that the problems which are occurring are not reoccurring onto the next level. And this is how the overall periodic continuous improvement model works in. We believe, and we have kept this as a KPI for us. It's not only about you not having that problem, but we as a Evosys, we don't want to solve the same problem which you are getting, let's say, previously. So that is one of the key KPI which we keep in front of our dashboard and make sure that that has been taken care of. The benefits which people have been referring back to us about the problem management, as I said, it becomes effective in nature. We talk about the area of improvements where they can go to the next level rather than just staying where they are. And we do the monitoring of the things, which is like a continuous monitoring of the support services, so that we do not see a red zone and reflect back that the problem was already there, and that's a reactive mode. So that is something we would not intend to.
Thanks for that, Vikas. Certainly given us a lot more clarity on it, exactly what it is we do around our managed services. Is there anything that we can share with our attendees and guests today around what our customers actually say about what we do?
Definitely, yes, Chris. And some of the areas, I guess, UP Council, who is our long-term customers for 4 years now for the Oracle Cloud application. So proactive problem resolution is something which they always liked in us right from the start of the first year. They've seen other partners doing the problem solving, but the proactiveness which they're able to see, that is something what they're liking. If you take about the commercial side, and I guess many of the audience who are coming from the commercial angle, it's about how do we handle the issue. It is to provide the best customer experience, and we have certain things like providing your feedback for every service request which have been raised, and that becomes one of our soft KPI, which indicates what is the customer experience, whether they are feeling good, whether they are feeling not good, so that it gives an indication that how we can improve our services. And many of our customers have put forward that they do not want to keep the lights on, and value-based analytics and other services which you are referring, that is something which is getting appreciated by our customer.
Okay, so we've heard about the customer journey from investing in a new cloud solution through to going live and into business as usual, and then we've gone on to talk about obviously the managed service. So thanks for that, Vikas. But it's not just about managed service, is it? What else can we actually overlay on top of that base managed service to find out areas of improvement?
Absolutely true, Chris. And that is where the value-based analytics comes as a magic, if you'd like to say. Many of the customers, and we have seen this trend, and we have done a lot of surveys, and we have seen third-party research. When organizations are investing on systems, they are investing with some objectives. But sometimes once that has been implemented, they are missing out the ways to measure it, and they are even not checking whether that objective which has been started with, whether it has been achieved or not. We see as a problem in the industry and in general market where people are not noticing the measurable difference which investments are bringing into their, let's say, business as well as into their life. So we took this as a problem and tried to see that what are the ways we can solve this. For sure, we had certain proactive solutions which we are doing before, but we decided what if we can provide a dashboard or analytics to our customers, which will help them understand whether they are going in a green direction or whether it is they are going in a red zone. Not only that, what if we can provide them the advisory services, which helps them to understand that what are the areas which they can focus upon to get more ROI rather than just staying where they are. So this is a combination of the assets what we have developed as value-based analytics along with the associated services where we help them to focus on to the high impact business values. And if you see, what it allows you to do is it allows you to move from the reactive mode to the proactive mode. So you do not wait till the problem happens. You make sure that if the problem is going to arise, you know it earlier rather than, let's say, later. It is not about the technicalities or the workflows which are getting stuck. It is more about what business value outcome you are able to get from the investment what you have made. And lastly, about the guesswork versus fact work. And we have seen many of the organizations are feeling that everything is going right, but that is more about the guesses which are being done. We believe in a fact work, and with this value-based analytics, we provide a fact work and something what has been already there in the system and how we can enhance it to that part. To make that happen, we already have a 220 plus pre-built analytics, which comprises across enterprise resource planning, supply chain management, and human capital management of Oracle Cloud portfolio. And there are 50 plus pre-built KPIs which you can make use of. So even though you might have not taken the KPI into the consideration at the start of the engagement, but it's never the late. Even post go live, you may want to start taking some of the KPIs and see whether you are performing in the right way or not. And that could be also a consideration for your business impact. If you are taking the KPIs which are having high business impact as far as value is concerned, you will see a radical difference on the way you are doing the things. These KPIs have been bifurcated into the 4 level, and this is where I'll be sharing some of the insights and the use cases which could relate to you and to your business, what you do. Take a first case about the process optimization. Everyone has to close the books, and from the finance point of view, closing books is one of the key activity which happens periodically. Many of the organizations closes in, let's say, 5 days to 3 days, and a few of the organizations also goes 10 days and beyond that. Now, if you want to reduce that, for sure, you need to have the right process in place. You need to have the right process policies in place, and you also need to have the right system in place. If you go for Oracle Cloud, for sure you get all the best practices and the modern best practices along with that, and that is something how we work upon. But what if I tell you, I give you a dashboard which will help you to know whether you are going to close your books in 7 days or in, let's say, 3 days. Now that will be your indicator, and it will help you to understand and navigate that if I do not solve this problem right now, then I have to spend extra days during the closure of the books. So this is something how our customers are leveraging this particular analytics along with our advisory services to improve from 7 days to, let's say, 3 days. The second component, which is very close to many of the CIOs and the IT directors, they have a KPI to check whether how is the system adoption, whether people or the employees within the organization are leveraging the system or not. If they're leveraging, are they using the advanced function of the system, which will help them to do the automation or not? And this analytics, a system adoption category, will exactly tell you who is using what, how much of the particular things are being used, and if the data quality entered in the system is good or not. So this gives you an indication that how is your health of your system and whether it is required to be improved. And then we discuss about what are the areas of improvement which we can have. It could be also with regard to the information output, as simple as, let's say, spend analytics. How much has been spent done by different suppliers to different suppliers, and what is that focus which I need to have. The same goes for the human resource team also with regards to the employee another part. It could be with regards to the reconciliation and the segregation of duties, which is a very important part of it. And what if you can know that if there are some red signals, you can get it right away from here. So these are the ways people are leveraging, and many of our customers are appreciating the fact that having this in-house and making sure that along with the advisory services, they're able to improve upon where they are.
Okay, so thanks for that, because what we'd actually like to do is just spend a little bit of time in looking at one of these four. In the interest of time, we can't do all four of them. So I'm just going to run a quick poll with our guests, if that's okay, Vikas, just to see which one of the four is of most interest for our audience. So hopefully you'll see on your screens now a very quick question. So if I could ask each of our guests to just provide us with a bit of insight as to which of those four areas they actually feel is most relevant to them. Okay, so I'm just going to keep it open for another 20 seconds. Thank you for everyone that's voted so far. So it's looking like at the moment, because process optimization is.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Okay.
I guess
So
last time we had thank you. I guess last time we had system adoption and we had a good interaction on that particular webinar. I see probably many of the business people are in the room, and I guess this would be a good use case to refer to. So you see over here the dashboards which I was referring to. So this dashboard helps you to understand that how we are closing the period, and this could be one of the automation. On the left hand side, you can see about different, let's say, slice and dice which you can make for it. Could be multiple business units, organizations, it could be years, and other values which you can have. Automatically, when you change these values, the things will be changing on the right hand side so that you get a real time response to the chosen values. This is an indicator which will tell you how many days are you taking to close this. Again, it's a sample instance, and we do not want 24 days to happen. But this is a quick, in a nutshell, you can have an idea that which direction are you going and if it is right or not. If we take a case of processing time, and this is one of about, let's say, payment processing cycle time. So these are the areas which will help you to understand how many days are you currently taking. So let's say Dave says about 10 average days which have been taken currently to process the payment. Below to it, you can also compare a business unit. So if you are, let's say, in a multi-country or you have a multiple line of businesses, you may want to compare with each other, how they are compared or how they are benchmarking against each organizations. And you may also want to have a healthy competition within the organizations to say that this is a benchmark for organization one. Why don't we also try to achieve this, or at least we reach to the nearer level? And that way, we all improve from one level to another. If we take a case about the processing of payment, again, we have seen there are two areas where this problem can occur. It could be the problem when the employees are not doing the right processing at right point of time, or it's just the invoice is staying inside the drawer of an employee who is supposed to enter into the system and process it. It could be also other way around, when it could be a supplier problem, when although they have delivered the things, but they have not submitted the invoice, and that's why you are getting late invoice, and that's why the overall cycle becomes late, and we see that lateness in overall cycle. So it gives you a complete picture of not only within the organization, but extended to your suppliers and see where the bottlenecks are. And we as a Evosys, when we provide advisory service to you, we identify these bottlenecks and share certain ideas where you're seeing people are leveraging to resolve that particular thing. So this is how people can leverage that particular thing and help to get to the next level. I guess the last case which you wanted to take for the procurement team members who could be, let's say, present today. And I'm sure that many of you might be relating this point with the sample. So also we buy systems and make sure that we have a process where there is a purchase order against each invoices which has been processed. But still, there are organizations where the problem is lying, where invoices are not getting matched with the purchase order, or the purchase orders are not created at all. Many of the organizations are taking some of the initiative like no PO, no invoice, no PO, no payment, and that kind of things could be, let's say, extreme. But these are the areas where people want to leverage and put up a control to make sure that everything is been, let's say, considered as far as process and the cash flow is concerned. So you get insights about that part. It helps you to reach to the next level. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you very much for that, because there was actually some very interesting points around process optimization. But for any of our guests on the webinar today that either wants to have a look at in a bit more detail into that area or actually wants to cover any of the other four, do reach out to us. I'll be sharing my contact details at the end, and we can actually follow up with a bit more detailed conversation around the VBA. So let's move on now to talk a bit about how technology can be used to drive further success and to complement, managed services. Dhaval, I mentioned earlier about testing and RPA. Could you give us a bit more insight into that?
Sure, thanks, Chris. So talking about technology, what we have done is we have leveraged the latest technologies like RPA, chatbot, and analytics or advanced analytics to improve the overall customer process. And what we have done is we have created certain packages which we can use to test the tool, to test the Fusion upgrade. So as a part of the upgrade testing, the Fusion ERP systems are upgraded every quarter, and what our RPA tool does is it takes up all the testing or the processes that needs to be tested after the updates are released from Oracle side to ensure that all the process are working fine as per the configurations that we had earlier, and if there are any impacts from the upgrade. By developing a complete package on the RPA side, what we have done is we are able to save at least 70% of time that we spent in the testing period. And what this helps us is, for RPA, using RPA, the customers are able to save time on the testing, identify the issues early, and report it back to Oracle so that the upgrade to the next instance, or so if they're from dev to test and test to prod, are smooth. We are able to identify the issues and delay in case of any major impact on the production environment. So I could identify those cases early up. Talking about so a little bit in detail. About the analytics. So for analytics, for the customer where we already have all analytics in place, or some of the other analytics tool, or using the Oracle Analytics Cloud, what we are able to do is like provide services like advanced analytics, and also recommend improvements in the existing development. So looking at their ETL structure, looking at their existing data warehouse and the reports, we were able to recommend changes and get good feedback from our support customers, where we could see the improvement of ETLs being reduced from 8 hours to 4.5 hours. So that's a significant reduction in the time taken to move volumes of data. We have also been able to pull down the reporting time and see consistency, which was not the case earlier, and we were able to give consistent performance on reports on the analytics system by tuning the data warehouse, and we were able to deliver those results to our customers. Chris, if you can go to the next slide, please. Right, so moving on. Yeah, so these are some of the numbers that we wanted to share with you in terms of what we mean by testing. In case of upgrade testing, we have developed and created packages for certain processes in each of the modules. So if you see the counts we have for HCM, we have more than 70 plus processes in place, which can be used for demonstration purposes, or testing purposes. From finance perspective, we have more than 100 processes in place, and we cover all the finance modules, the 5 core modules, and then the expense and other accounting modules that we have in Fusion. From a supply chain perspective, we have 50 plus processes where we cover the self-service, procurement, inventory, and the requisition cycle as well. CX, we have just started developing the CX processes, as CX can vary a lot from customer to customer, and that is why you're seeing a low count. But we are making good progress in identifying the processes which are common and can be standardized as a part of the testing. And as I talked about the time saving, so what time saving does is for the customer is they are able to invest time in identifying cases like what is causing the system to get those delays. So as we saw earlier, Vikas pointed out that the GL period closing was a little higher than the expected, or the benchmarks that the customer was expecting. What we could identify is like there were certain processes or approval cycles which were not optimum, and we used RPA to automate some of those transactions, or create some of those transactions, so that the dependency on creating those transactions for period closing is removed from a human, and we can close the periods a little earlier. So using the VBA in conjunction with RPA to get the improvements, desired improvements for the customer, is the area that we focus on. And once we introduce RPA into the account, or into the customer, they can expand the solution to other areas and see how automation can improve the overall process time and the the amount of time but their users are spending on the system. Right. Okay. Sorry, how do I move back? Okay, yes, okay. Similar, talking about the analytics case, going deeper into the case that I was talking about. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, there's some.
No problem. You want to be a okay. Slide? Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a delay in the response. Sorry. So yeah, so talking about that particular use case of analytics use case, one of our customers had data spread across different silos. So they had a system called Yardi. They had their ERP system and their point of sale and billing systems as well. So what they wanted to do is create reports across and use the different systems. And their current data warehouse was not able to support the cross-subject area, or linkages between the different variety of sources. What we were able to do during the support period with them is to analyze and give them a clear view as where the data sets are, the linkages are missing, and identify the areas and fix those areas, and give them an enterprise layer of data warehouse. And that is where one of the experience that we have with working with large organizations and creating enterprise-wide data warehouse, which could act as a single source of truth for everybody in the organization, and use a single analytics layer, or use multiple analytics layer, but the data warehouse layer remains constant, and so that the information shared across the organization remains constant. So moving on to the third technology that we use with on our analytics like AMS support projects is chatbot. So chatbot, we have seen good adoption in the market recently with all the work from home situations, and we are able to see that there was a flock of queries to the HCM department or the supply chain department, or the network and IT team, as to how the processes will work when we are at home. How will things be? How can I access for various systems, or what will happen to my leaves? So all those questions keep flocking in to the various departments, and what we were able to do is gather a set of FAQs or questions that the organization, the departments were getting, and we were able to collate and create a knowledge base, and that knowledge base was exposed to a chatbot, and the chatbot any employee in the organization could ask questions to that chatbot and get their queries answered. It may be related to finance or supply chain or HCM. So looking at the right access, so if the user has access to query about an invoice, he could go in and to the chatbot and ask the status of the invoice, and he was able to get those details. So we may it be transactional or FAQ kind of queries. The chatbot was able to answer those queries and respond to the employees, making life easier for the central teams like HCM or the supply chain manager to carry on with their own tasks. So that was about the different areas in which we have implemented chatbot on top of knowledge base.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Dhaval.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Chris.
So just in the interest of time, obviously we're showing you here a chatbot in live mode. Dhaval, is there anything that you sort of want to make reference to around the actual chatbot itself and how it was able to help some of the HCM departments in our customers?
Yeah, so as I told you, the HCM departments get queries related to the leave balance and what will happen to the leaves, and in some cases if the leave balance was not right, or how to apply the leaves. So if you can see over here, we are showing how we can use a chatbot and how the chatbot can understand language, natural language. Like if I say I want to apply a leave for next Wednesday, it will automatically pick up the date that's falling on next Wednesday and apply the create a leave request for me. So it is intuitive, it understands natural languages, and there is no training required to ask people to use chatbot. So if I just release it and people start using it, they will pick it up and they'll be interacting with the system. And we have seen good volumes of interaction. So when we start with our customers and release the system without even training, having a proper training session across the employees, we were able to see good adoption of the chatbot, and the number of transactions went from hundreds to thousands in a matter of 10 to 15 days of implementation.
Great, thank you very much, Dhaval. So just moving on now. So, and just to wrap things up then, so we're obviously getting to the final stages of the webinar now. And before we move to questions, I just wanted to just say a few more parting things. And for me, it's about looking at supporting a digital customer for life. What does that actually mean? It's important to note that a digital transformation journey doesn't end, where we've just finished this webinar on. We strive to help our customers in their entire digital journey. And having merged with Mastech this year, we can now offer a more complete digital service spanning applications across the entire business. And we help our customers to realize the true benefits of their data and unlock the power of that data. And we also look to continuing to develop and modernize applications and solution development to keep them current and fit for purpose. And these things are achieved with some of the services that are listed on this slide. And effectively, I'll be delighted to follow up with each of you to discussing a bit more detail about how some of these services can be used to help you in your digital transformation journey. So just moving on to the next slide now. I apologise to our guest that there seems to be a slight lag in. I think the internet's being well used today. So effectively, just to wrap things up, we're what I'd like to say is, you know, I hope you've enjoyed the session today. What we'd like to do is just ask you to visit our website and stay in touch with us and have a look at some of the webinars that are due to be you know, coming up. We're looking to actually roll out some webinars on things to consider when you're transitioning to a new managed service, and it's actually quite a good opportunity now to progress to questions, because Vikas, we do have a question here from one of our guests, and it's probably quite a detailed question to answer, but are there things that customers should consider when looking at transitioning to a managed service?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and I guess this is one of the questions which you have been getting frequently from last 6 months, I would say, during this time of COVID, when people are making sure that whatever the spending which they are making with regards to the support services with different vendors, is it in a good direction or not? And a couple of customers, I would like to give a recent example. So one of the customer who was having services from, let's say, the big four, and then after they are looking for a partner who can not only keep the lights on but provide a proactive services. Over there, we took this transition services for them, and then after we did the transition within the period of 6 weeks, the other customers which we are just finalizing, let's say the second phase of it, we did around 2 months of transition. So these are the two examples which are, let's say, large in size, big in, let's say, subject with regards to multi-country operation, 24/7 support services. And there are certain examples like, say, a university who is, let's say, transitioning from one vendor to another in a period of, let's say, 3 weeks. So this is the broad spectrum of the areas that we've seen as far as timeline is concerned, depending upon what you have and how complex your environment is. For sure, that is one dimension to check that part. But more important for you is it should have a business continuity. For the users, for the business, it should not be a change. It should be a change which is in a positive tone rather than disrupting your business. And these are the areas which will be focusing more into our upcoming transitioning webinar, and we'll share you some of the use cases and how do we see which are the best practices to be considered whenever you are transitioning from one to another.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Vikas. And to our guests, I sincerely apologise. The slide that we're currently showing you shows some dates that are currently out of date. But what I would encourage you to do is do visit our website, where you'll see a webinar section, and it will have all of the correct dates and times of the up and coming webinars that we're looking to conduct that may be of interest to you. So in the interest of time, there are a couple of additional questions, but we will follow up with each of you. So I'm sorry that we can't answer them all now. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope that you found the session useful. If you do have any further questions, or you do want to talk to us in a bit more detail, please do reach out to us. My contact details are there on the slide, and they are correct. So I look forward to speaking to some of you soon. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you.